Hey my Joy Dolls, how y'all doing? And welcome back to my channel. And if you've seen the thumbnail, you know that I quit my job. And so it's very spiritual, the whole story. And I just thought that I would bring you on this journey and tell you my story. So if you're into this type of content, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And stay tuned, ladies, because as always, it's gonna be good. So I was working at a job for about 6.5 years. I managed to get promoted twice, and I worked really hard at the job. There were things that I loved about the job, the service that we provided, but there were a lot of things that I didn't love about the job as far as like I found myself very stressed. The job was taking a toll on my body. Like I kept gaining weight. It's hard for me to sleep sometimes. I was taking the job home. I felt unappreciated and just those things. However, overall, the job did its purpose. Like it provided for me and my son. And so I had wanted to quit before, and I had done applications and things of that nature, but nothing was ever worth me actually leaving the job. And so I stayed there. There were some things that also kept me from leaving, and one of the main things was fear. I was a single mother. The same week that I got that job was the same week I conceived my son. And so that job provided for me and my child. And so it held something personal for me. I had that job for the majority of my 20s, basically. And so I kind of grew up there. I became a manager. I became a boss. I became a woman. And so people never talk about how personal a job can be, especially like now in our age, people quit jobs left and right. And for some of us, like that first job, well, it's technically my second job, but for some of us, it holds high value within us. I was attached to that job. And so let me tell you exactly what caused me to quit. It's actually very spiritual, and I'm just gonna jump and say it. Like, God told me to quit my job. He made it very plain and clear. And so here's that story. But before I get into that story, like, stay tuned, because as always, like, I'm going to give you the fruit of this whole experience. Basically, my son just had started kindergarten, and the direction from his school into my workplace was kind of like confusing. So I was operating with GPS. And so I had dropped him off. And then another thing, GPS was taking me different routes all of the time. So it was kind of hard for me to actually like memorize it. And I'm directionally challenged. I just put that out there. So I'm still operating with GPS. And so for some reason, like, I'm listening to this sermon, and I don't know the name of the pastor. He was a younger pastor, but he kind of preached like an old school way, but the kind where they'll be like, this is sin, and that's a sin, and that's a no, and that's a no, and that's a no. And so I used to always like listen to sermons on my way to work and things like that. At that time, I didn't even have a church home. But the thing about the sermons is that I always felt like the sermons based off like my search on the internet, for some reason, they always resonated in my spirit. Like, they always provided for me. And this had been going on for like 6-8 years. Like, I had so many different online pastors, and I appreciated them. Like, they knew, like, the Holy Spirit knew what I needed. So when I was listening to this preacher, I was feeling convicted, and I was starting to get frustrated. And it's very rare for me to get frustrated with God. I feel like that was probably the first time in my life I ever for real got frustrated with God, because I was just like, God, what are you trying to tell me? Because basically the pastor was trying to make it seem like everything I was doing was wrong. And so I just felt so convicted. So I'm arguing. Well, I'm not arguing. I'm talking to God. I'm frustrated. And I somehow like missed my turn. And so this is crazy. Like, listen up. Like, I missed my turn, and I'm going towards the direction of my house. And then I realized like I missed my turn. I'm like, hold on, what is going on? And so I keep trying to use the GPS. My GPS is not working. I can't get a signal if my life depended on that. I'm directionally challenged. I'm frustrated, and now I'm starting to get overwhelmed. And so I'm constantly trying to, like, I know the city. Like, I know I'm in Chicago. Like, I'm close to downtown. So, like, I know where I'm at. I know where I'm going. But for some reason, I just can't get there. So I tried to get on the expressway for like 2-3 times, like, to get on the expressway, but for some reason I couldn't get on the expressway. And so for some reason, like, the more I tried to go towards my job, it was as if like there was a resistance pushing me back towards my house. Eventually, I made it to my job, and I'm just like still like frustrated. Like even before I got to the job, I'm extra because I was having such a hard time getting to work. I had to stop and get me some coffee, like as a little, I don't know, a little gift, because that used to be my personality. Whenever something bad happened, I needed to give me something to comfort myself. So I had to, like, even though like I was even running late, I had to, no, I wasn't even running late. Like I stopped and got me some coffee and something, and like I remember pulling up to the parking lot of the coffee place, and I'm just like, what is going on? Like, what is that? And then I tried to get the coffee, and guess what? The coffee place was closed. And like they hadn't even open. It was like in a grocery store. It was like in a grocery store, and they have like the little coffee part, and that opens more like regular time versus coffee shop time. Anyway, so I just go to my job. Now I have 2 locations to go that day. So I go in and I clock in because I like the next location about 45 minutes away, and I clock in, and basically I think I check my email or something like that, and I get back in the car. So this time I turned on Stephen Furtick, and that message was called Now Turn North. And I do not remember, y'all, what that message was for. I should have actually listened to it before I did this video. But on the expressway, and I'm going towards the next location. And the next location is further than my house. It's actually in the opposite direction, but like the way the expressway works, if I wanted to get to my house, I could take the same expressway. I kept feeling the pull, like literally the pull to get off on those exits. Like I just kept feeling the pull. It's as if I was like going into the right lane to get off. And I'm listening to the sermon. The sermon was resonating with me, and I managed to make it to the next location. So basically at the next location, I had a meeting. I have a meeting. I do everything I need to do. I'm there. I'm in and out. I'm going back to the first location because I managed multiple locations. So I just had to, that was kind of normal for me sometimes. I'm going back to the first location. And so I'm on my way to the first location, and the pastor's still preaching, and I'm trying to resonate with God. I'm trying to see what he speak with me. And I listen to the sermons all day. So this is just part of my routine. So I'm driving, and it's time for me to take the exit to like the way the expressway to let the expressway loop to go back to my first office. But if I keep straight, then I'll be going home. And I feel, and I'm trying to tell my mind, like, it was like I went into a trance. Like, I don't know how much to say it. Like, I literally went into the trance, and what the pastor's saying, I do remember, like, I'm trying to get over here, but my hands won't go over there. Like, I want to go right, but my hands won't go over there. Like, I'm not making this up. Like, this is literally happening. And the pastor's saying, you're going the wrong way. Like, that's what he's preaching. He's saying, you're going the wrong way. And that's when it hit me. Like, goosebumps, chills. It wasn't even in that message. I was like, he's telling me to go home. And basically, I was just like, I kept listening to the message. Like, if God want me to go home, like, I'm going to go home. But I kind of could sense that, like, God wanted me to, like, not go back to work. He wanted me to quit. Like, cold turkey, like, you done with that place. And so I just made it all the way to my building parking lot, y'all. I managed to get to my apartment. I just broke down crying. I like broke down crying. I was trying to explain to God that like I'm not technically prepared to quit right now. My credit cards are up. I had taken like 3 vacations, and I had like 2 more planned at that time. No, I had taken 3 vacations. I had been on 2, and I had 1 more planned. Like it's not a good time. And I'm crying, and I'm crying, and I'm crying. And all I know, not even in a template, not even with Google, I'm literally sitting there. Like, I'm like almost in a trance. I'm so serious, y'all. And I'm messaging out my resignation notice. And it was a 2 weeks notice. And so, I just go home and I sent it. And then when I sent it, I came back to myself. Like I was in a trance, but I really felt like I was kind of out of body a little bit. And that never happened to me in my whole life, y'all. Never happened to me in my whole life. Like, this is not normal for me. Like, I don't have any, like, this don't happen. And so, yeah. And so I come back to myself and I had pressed send and I take a deep breath and I go back to the office. Now, even though I put in a 2 weeks notice, I had a trip plan. This is Tuesday. I got the trip plan for Wednesday. And so where I'm going is I'm going to the Woman Evolve Sarah J conference up in Dallas. And so I go to the Woman Evolve conference, and like, if y'all ain't been to that conference, like, go. She's having one this September. It was every confirmation that I needed. And that's when God was for real starting to give me my vision, telling me that I'm to break generational curses, telling me to start a YouTube channel. Like, he was giving me pictures and I could see my life, and I was okay with that. And so that's the story. Like, that's the deep story of how God told me to quit my job. And my journey with God, me building a relationship with God on a deeper level, really began. And so this next part is just the aftermath, but like, it's the story of a woman growing into God. And I really didn't want to tell y'all this story because I don't feel like it's time. Like, I had always knew that, like, I was going to get a testimony from all of this. Like, I really thought I was going to be like, oh, I quit my job in such and such and such and such a. However, like, God had made it very clear to me a couple days ago that this was supposed to be the video that I put out for you guys. I'm about to tell you 3 lessons that I learned from quitting my job and just walking with God. Okay, y'all. So the first lesson that I learned from this whole experience is, my name is Jewel, and it is very nice to meet me. Soon as I got that free time, like most people, the one thing I decided to do was to make myself busy. I'm dropping him off. I added the gym to my schedule. My niece had came to stay with me for about a month, and I'm dropping her off at school, and she's in college, so she has different times as well. I'm dropping her off and picking her up, and then if I run an errand, come wash up, eat. It's already time for me to get my son. So then I got a lot of more time with my son. So now we're at the park longer. And then I have stuff I have to dedicate time with him in the afternoon. Because before, like, I'll pick him up about 5:30, and we had our afternoon routine. But now I'm picking him up between 2 and 3, and I'm somehow still tired at the end of the day, still feel like I'm busy, still like what's going on. And then at that time, my family was asking me to do this and do that. And I think my mama had came to stay with me for a week or something like that. I just found myself very, very, very busy. And I was purposely making myself busy because I was used to being busy. When you first quit your job, you sometimes feel inadequate. And so you want to feel like you're not just laying around being lazy. You find ways to be productive. Eventually, my niece had ended up getting her car, and so she also ended up moving. And I found myself with more time, and I kind of got into a rhythm with my son. I found myself actually sleeping a lot. Like, all of a sudden, I was sleeping. Like, I don't know if it was because I was working out and I was so heavy because I was like 300 pounds at that time. And even now when I work out, it physically, it makes, like, I think it's the endorphins, but it physically makes me tired as well. Like, through the night, I feel like my body needs recovery time. And so I found myself sleeping a lot. I actually started watching TV, and I wasn't even doing my YouTube thing yet. And I'm like waiting for me to do YouTube, but I'm completely delusional and confident, y'all. Like, everything's gonna be out, everything's gonna be great. God told me to quit my job. Like, I'm gonna start this YouTube channel. It's gonna blow up. Like, I'm about to be excellent. Like, I'm literally gonna be a millionaire. Like, I had little girl dreams with little girl perspective, because my entire adult life, well, I'll put it like this. My entire adult life as a mother, which I spent the majority of my, I had my son at 24. Of course, I graduated at 22. But it was like December, so 4 months later, I turned 23. So I had about like a year and 3 months, like, that's in between, well, I guess, freedom I guess, freedom. And even then I was working. So this is the first time in my life that like I actually had grown woman bills, grown woman responsibilities, and I'm a mom and I don't have an income. But my perspective with that conference, Sarah J. Roberts, my perspective is you would have thought I was 18, as optimistic as I was. I was like, everything's gonna happen. I got time, I'm cool. And not just that, my sermons I was listening to was confirming. Like, they was, my pastor had started going into a church. God brought me to a church at home. They, like, you're about to get accelerated. Things that took people 10 years gonna take you 6 months. And all of the words, it wasn't even just one word. It was like 5 words. All of these things is confirming that word, and I just feel like I'm finna be blessed. I don't gotta worry. And Christmas comes, and December's my son's birthday as well. And I'm still feeling blessed. I still feel highly, highly favored. I can pay all my bills without any problems still at this time. And things were straight. Going to January, financially, I was still good. Like, I was good financially, technically, to like March. Like, I was straight. And that's just because, like, my personality. Like, I had a savings because I'm a single mom and I have a car. Before I had my current car, I had a lemon, and so that taught me like how expensive cars is. So like I always knew like how to save for emergencies. And so January comes and I'm doing YouTube now. So now I feel like I'm tiptoeing to YouTube. So now I feel like, okay, I'm living in my purpose. I'm staying close to God, reading the word, I'm fasting, like everything is gonna work out. Like, I'm favored. I'm learning. I'm reading. Like, I'm just doing my best, y'all. At that time, I was having some progression with my weight loss, so I was very proud of that, and I was still optimistic. And more importantly, God was like giving me the space to kind of fall in love with myself, because basically it had been so long from being on that job and suppressing myself for so long, and also becoming a mom, suppressing myself, that I actually started for real to learn how to navigate myself. If you got all the time in the world and you can do anything, what do you do with it? Because I was doing my YouTube channel and all of the self-help stuff, affirming in myself, like putting on my pajamas and my body care, the things I was telling y'all to do, just enjoying myself. My legs and my knees, when I got so heavy, was struggling. So just dancing in the house and just relaxing. That's what I'm saying. God was for real giving me me. Another thing was, I had made a video about him separating me from people already. He had already separated me from all my friends, and I was still slowly but surely cutting them off. So I really was it was a lot of time of just me, my son, me, and God. And I was falling in love with myself. He was affirming in me. There was nobody to take care of anymore. Like, when you're a mom, you don't really consider your child taken care of. Of course, you're going to always take care of them, but you take care of them like you take care of yourself. But all of the additional responsibilities, they started to decrease. And not just that, I was speaking up for myself. I was telling my family, like, okay, I'm not working, but I'm working on myself. So I started using that mighty word that I suggest y'all use of no. I started to for real just love on my body, like taking care of my skin, walking around with no clothes on, dressing up. I started working on my skill. Like, I always knew how to do makeup, but I started praying to enhance the way I do my makeup. January, I think I was still getting my hair done because I could afford to get my hair done. But that's when I was realizing, like, I can't. So I started telling God, like, help me to do my own hair. Because I used to do my own hair back in the day, but I stopped, like, a long time ago. And so I started, trying to do my hair, just work on the skills that I have and work with what's in my hands. And more importantly, I believe, gave myself grace. But more importantly, I started to for real feel free. All of a sudden, it didn't matter what day it was. Like, Monday through Friday, okay, I had to take my son to school, but the anxiety had left me, and that left me like immediately within probably the first 2 weeks. Like, all of a sudden, I don't have any anxiety. All of a sudden, I'm not stressed out. All of a sudden, I'm living my dream. I'm living my purpose. I am a YouTuber. And so with all of those things, like I was like low key feeling myself. Like everything's okay, everything's gonna work out. Like I was growing my relationship with God. I found myself having a lot of joy. I found myself being so appreciative of it's I'm just in here washing my dishes and it's peaceful. I'm pouring myself a glass of wine and it's peaceful. I'm reading all of these books and it's helping me. Um, I'm going to be excellent and I'm actually working towards being excellent. I even found myself when listening to sermons, a lot of times when I listen to sermons, they would inspire me to be great. Like, okay, I'm going to go back on the YouTube. Well, I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to better myself this way. But all of a sudden, when I'm listening to the sermons, I don't have to inspire to be great. I'm already living the greatness. So now I'm learning how to sharpen my greatness. Like I'm sharpening the tools versus, how can I explain it? It's one thing if you got to let something go that's bad. In a sermon, like giving you confirmation, let that thing go that's bad. Let that thing go that's bad. Versus you already let something go as bad. So when they telling people like, some of you already let the things go this bad and some of the people you need to let. I was like one of them people like, okay, I let that thing go. Like, that's how I can explain it. Like, the sermons was resonating on a deeper level. My spirituality and my spiritual growth was getting deeper. I was longing for a deeper understanding of God, understanding of me, a deeper understanding of a Christian woman. God was even educating me on being a Christian mother. Like, I was truly seeking God. Okay, so on the flip side, every single month, sometimes every single day, even with the joy, is when I started for real having spiritual warfare, y'all. And so, even though I was a Christian, I don't feel like I'm a lukewarm Christian because I always believed. I have read through the Bible before with a very, very mild understanding. I did start reading through the Bible again with a instructor, Hard Dive. I definitely recommend you go on YouTube and search Hard Dive. She's reading through the Bible for the whole year, and she started in January, and I started in January with her. During this time, let's say, I guess it was more so like March, February, maybe before then, I started for real experiencing the enemy. And I learned what spiritual warfare means. Like all those songs, they start hitting different because I could actually resonate with things, not just the inspirational and the motivational or even the sad parts. Like the for real, like I started experiencing things that's like they wrote that song for me type of like situations. And I never really knew about spirits. Like I never was that deep in my Christianity to know about spirits, like mirroring spirits, jealousy spirits, envious spirits. Like comparison can be a spirit. But not just that, like when people, I never really knew that there was like, I knew that there was the enemy, but I never knew that there was like a bunch of for real demonic people and demonic spirits and that you gotta like cast them away. Like when you start getting deeper in your journey and you reading the Bible and you're searching on a deeper level, like you for real, like the devil will for real start attacking you because now you living out your purpose. All of a sudden, like, I don't know if I want to say it. He was trying to make me feel like nothing. When they say he comes to kill, steal, and destroy, I have experienced those things plethora of times since then. And I find myself on my knees, literally on my face, crying out to God so much, trying to take a deep breath, because I had to go pick up my son. And one of the main things that really has started to bother me, because I got to a place in the springtime where my birthday was coming and I was okay with it. Like God had taught me contentment. Like it is okay to go without. That happened the first like 3 months. And it's just like, okay, if I can't afford an outfit, if I got to do my own hair and my makeup, if I got to have a small gathering in my living room, then so be it. And y'all, that's what I did. But I started to need money. started to need a job, I basically had ended up running out of all of my resources, slowly but surely. And this was more so April, May, and June, where the resources started to just decrease. And all of a sudden, I have this issue that I've never experienced before. So I'm running out of resources, and God is still providing for me. Not only is he providing for me, like, he's just showing up for me. He's softening the hearts of people around me, and people are just giving to me. Like, I think they gave me like over $1,000 for my birthday. And prior to this, I was always a person that don't like to accept stuff. Like, I'll let you give me a present for my birthday, but I don't really like. I never used to like when people gave me money. I never like when people do a lot for me. I always felt like I'm a giver. I've never been a receiver. And it's through therapy in my 20s, like, I learned how to receive a bit. But going above and beyond for me, constantly giving me, like, I'm the type of person, if you give me something, I'm going to consider your situation to evaluate, can you afford to give me this? If I give you something and you try to pay me back or something like that, I will consider, are you just trying to pay me back to pay me back? Or is this the best time for you to pay me back? And so that has always been my heart. I felt appreciative of my birthday month when, like, I got so much. Like, I was so blessed. But, like, he was, like, for real trying to take me out, y'all. And the bills was starting to really bother me. I just, for real, was like, I gotta find a job, y'all. Period. Like, I'm about to still do this YouTube thing, but I gotta find a job. And so I just went all in on my job search. All in. And, y'all, I had the best results on this job search that I have ever had in my life, because when I prayed over it, I'm getting third round interviews. I'm interviewing for like several director positions. The people seem like they love me. Like, I'm confident that by June the 1st, like, for real, I'm going to be working. Like, I'm confident. Like, I got this. And so basically, I don't know what happened, but I remember just speaking to God one day, y'all. He was like, you can keep looking for a job and you can keep interviewing, but you're wasting your time. I kind of got frustrated because at the time, like, it was tough. Like, it was tough because it wasn't that I couldn't pay stuff, but that was probably about the time where I started getting behind. And as the struggle became real, y'all, I continued to press with my faith. I would fast if I needed to fast. I continued to take everything to God. I continued to trust him. I continued to have faith, and I continued to listen. And that's when I decided I was going to start doing like TikTok and stuff like that. And short form videos, like, it's so much easier than long form videos. And so I'm doing TikTok, and I get into like the TikTok Shop Creator Program and then the Amazon Affiliate Program, y'all. And so I'm excited. Then I like found a digital marketing course, and my sister paid for that for me. And so, like, now I'm about to sell digital products. And so now I'm going through this whole new phase of learning. But to sum it all up, basically, I started to fall in love with myself. I started to get to know myself. I started to trust myself again, have confidence in myself, have confidence in my purpose. And I started to learn for real, like, what it for real means when you walk in by faith. Which leads me into the second point. Changing and growth is extremely hard. Like, of course, we all know that, but when you're doing it by faith, you for real think like, I'm blessed and highly favored, and he will provide. Yes, you are blessed and highly favored. He does provide, but it's hard, y'all. When you're a 9-to-5 girly, you have a boss and you have somebody to teach you, and you clock in and you clock out, and you just know what to expect. When you're trying to become an entrepreneur, you don't know anything. If you don't got a mentor, which I don't, you don't know what you're doing. You always online, you're learning all the time. And I've always loved to learn. The thing about when you're learning without a course and you're creating your own course, and there's so much information online, is that you don't know if you're doing it right you don't know if you teaching yourself the right thing. It's all trial and error on an informational basis, and you're constantly like winging it and changing it, and you're constantly online just searching more and searching more, and then you're working all day long. However, you're not weary about working all day long because you're passionate about what you're doing. You're excited to do what you do. It's like every time I post a video, long form, short form, even an Instagram post for my business account, like I feel like the way you feel when you ain't had no money in a long time and you get your first paycheck, like that feeling. Even though that like this check finna go to 1,000 different places, it doesn't matter. I feel accomplished, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. And I'm living in my passion, so it's worth it. There's like this fine print about walking in purpose, and it's like, prepare for the enemy to come for you. Prepare to be decreased. Prepare to like for real not know something. Prepare to feel like you don't know anything. And prepare to have to lean on God literally a million times more than you ever had to lean on him. But the thing about it is that God is always so close. Like the Holy Spirit is like always hovering, and it's like I could sense it. Like I'm to a place in my spirituality that I can sense it. I can sense the Holy Spirit. And if I don't sense him, I can call him close. But not even just that. Like if it's a negative spirit that don't belong, I can sense that and pray that away as well. But it's like you're so dependent on him because you just need that support because you don't have the confidence in yourself. The thing is that if you tell somebody that you're gonna start your own business, they're gonna be congratulations. They may even throw you a party. They may end up celebrating for you. But the walkout of you actually becoming successful, the walkout of being an entrepreneur, the walkout of living your purpose and taking care of your dream, like people may wish you well, but there's not a lot of people that can for real resonate on that level of like what it means and what it takes. And when you're doing it as a single mom, or you're doing it when you really should be giving all your time to find a job, even the people that love you, yeah, they want to support you, but your well-being is more important than your dream to them. And so you really have to, for real, lean on God so that you don't quit. Which brings me to my next point, which is you have to believe like your life depends on it. When God backs you up, you become something bigger than yourself. You literally transform, and you don't know how it happened or when it happened, but you just move differently. Another thing that people don't talk about a lot is that God is very spiritual. And so the things that he does for you is very spiritual. For example, all of a sudden I had courage to not just be on YouTube, and like I'm on all social media platforms doing like my business. Y'all don't know this, but prior to this, like I was like maybe one of the select few people in the world that never post anything. Like, you lucky to get a graduate. I probably post on my graduations, but it wasn't even 3 times a year. It may be once every 2 years, if that. Like, I was one of them people, like, I just don't like to share my life. Now, I film everything. I'm always using my camera for everything, but I keep it personally for myself. All of a sudden, I'm shooting YouTube videos. I'm literally going live, y'all. I had never been live before. Even, like, making TikToks. It was this big thing. It took me a long time to start making TikToks because I had never like did short form content in my life because like I don't post. I don't post. Like I see, and even then, like I never really been into seeing people lives that much. I like to see my YouTubers lives because they inspire me, they motivate me, they teach me. But I didn't even have a Facebook app on my phone like in years. My Instagram feed was dedicated to pretty things that I like things that I feel like made me a better human. Like that's like the type of things that I've always wanted to feed myself. He starts to change you so much to you don't even know who you are for real. Like you don't recognize yourself. Like even sometimes when I'm like listening to stuff on my video, like I don't know about this video because my voice is real raspy right now. The aftermath of being sick, but my voice be sounding different. Like it be sounding softer. I'm like, who is this person? The way I show up is different. Even my work ethic is different. When I used to go to work, and I work hard. But like I used to be exhausted. I used to always have to like I used to take a lot of time off of work because balancing like a full-time job and a full-time mommy and all of the stress and everything, it was too much for me. Now, like sometimes I can get up at 5 a.m. and I can work till literally 2 a.m. that day. I'm literally struggling not to work, and I'm actually God is like calling me to like remember the things that He brought me out of, so that even though I was never working like that, but I'll be doing other stuff like wasting time and stuff like that. But He's like, He wants me to teach rest, teach peace, and I can't do that if I can't, like if I'm working like that. Like basically, that's what I'm trying to say. Like I can't do that if I'm working like that. But yeah, like I could spend all my time creating things because in reality, this don't feel like work. It took me a long time to actually even say like I'm working to people. Or if the pastor says how many of y'all own a business, to like raise my hand. Like it took me a long time to for real walk proudly in what I'm doing. And it wasn't that I was ashamed. It was just that I was tiptoeing in it. And it came to a place where I for real just had to say, like, Jesus, take the wheel. And when I look at myself and I reflect on what I'm doing, it's for real like, who is this person? But that's what God would do, because He take away the things that you thought you needed and He gives you what He know you needs. All those little things you tried to pray away, all of a sudden you just lose a craving for it. Like they just disappear. And the intimacy between you and God, it just continues to grow. You're definitely going to be on your face all the time calling out to Him because you're so far out of your comfort zone. But what He gives you in return is so pure, it's so fulfilling that you will for real bet your whole life on it, that you will for real believe on it, that you will for real be ready to weather every storm, because it's what you know is, it's because you know what's in His purpose. And I'm gonna just throw this one in here. I learned in this season that God is everything to me. Like God has always been present in my entire life. I've always believed in God. And this season, by pursuing a relationship with Him, it's like I can see Him as my father, as my husband, as my best friend, my provider, my protector. Like I can just go on and on about how good God is and the way He will show up for you when you actually pursue Him. And you very much start to feel like, for real, a more so a dad-daughter relationship, because you always respect Him. And it's not hard to trust Him at all, because He's always been good to me. Like even when you read in the God that you learn from the Bible and you compare it to the God, at least in my instance of how good He's been in my life, like I just know like I can trust Him. Trusting Him is not hard, but the hard part is for real the battle of the flesh and the battle of the spirit, for real. Like yes, I'm growing in my spirit. I've mentioned that in several videos, of the joy, of the peace, of my growth, but the outcomes of my flesh is almost like they contradict each other. And then when you have people around you who fully don't understand like how for real deep you're into it, or you have your own, I don't know, worldly fears of religious notions or Christian notions, or like, am I too much out of my comfort zone? You just for real have to get into, you for real gotta let your mind go back into who He is and who He literally proves Himself to be every day. Like I am blessed and I'm highly favored, and that's period, boo. And you have to take on that role. But it's one thing to say it. He will put you in a place where you for real, not where you know it. Like where you for real know it. And you're gonna hold on to Him, because it's like it gets to a place where He's your everything and He's all that you need. And I'm not trying to scare y'all, because that may seem terrifying, but it's just a reality. So now the reason why I didn't want to for real put this video out there is because the story is still very much incomplete. I'm still on my YouTube channel trying it. I'm still not even monetized here. Have had some success as far as at least growing more on other platforms, but besides like being able to like do like TikTok shop creators and affiliates things, I started another business besides that. But as far as I got $100,000 or I done this or I done that, I do not have those testimonies. Like literally, that's not my testimony right now. But I feel like the reason why God wanted me to share it with you guys right now is because so often we always hear the before and the after, and I'm learning that God wants with my purpose and my journey to for real explain the details and the doing. I think that people don't like to tell you the details and the doing just because we don't navigate to that. We don't navigate to that. Like I would like to hear if I see a video of like somebody, I quit my job. Okay, that's good. But I always want to hear, and now what? And so as far as now what, y'all, I'm just going to be totally honest. It is still up in the air. Like I'm still sticking to God, y'all. Because I'm going to continue to do my YouTube. I'm going to continue like to work on my business and then everything else with my other platforms. However, I am still considering, I'm still trying to convince God. Like, I don't know if you can convince him, but I'm trying to convince him, like, I can do it all. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Like, I can work. I'll do better this time. And I can pursue my purpose. And so we'll see on that end. But do I trust him? Am I willing to be vulnerable and make a video that literally, I'm not going to say I don't want to make. I just wanted to make it once, like, it's gonna have to be a part 2 now. not the next video, but when I can, give y'all those worldly blessings that we so much attach ourselves to. But if there's one thing I want y'all to take from this, is that you have to be brave to become yourself. It is not a quick fix. And sometimes you are a 1 in a million. But sometimes you are just like the billion. And if you find yourself for real discouraged or wanting to give up or feeling inadequate, or if you're on your own personal journey and you're just like, what the heck? I strongly encourage you for real to give it all to God. The good, the bad, the ugly, the tears, the fears, the what ifs. Literally, as you sit there and you plan out, I'm gonna go point A, or I'm gonna go point B, or I'm gonna go point C. Give it all to God. And if you really feel like you don't have 5 minutes, give him 1 second. Sometimes you can't take it a day by day. Sometimes you have to take it second by second. And I know that as believers, as Christians, we don't want to hear that. We want to hear God is going to bless me. He's going to do everything, period. But you got to know that if you're walking according to his will, that it is his will. And as I literally look at this camera, y'all, this is literally me talking to myself at this point. And even as I say that, and I know that I'm about to put this video out here, it's not the thoughts of me not trusting him coming to play. It's that, what if you stop, or what if you don't win, or what if you can't, and you're telling all these people these things. And I hear God telling me to tell y'all, trust me anyway. Do it anyway. I never seen the righteous forsaken. Like, I literally hear God telling me these things right now. Okay. So that's it for this video. It's a deep video. It's not like any of my other videos. At least I don't think so. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you're into this type of content, go ahead and hit this like and subscribe button. I am literally on a journey, y'all. And every week, like, I'm literally now going to God I've been going to him, but I go to him like, okay, I'm going to do this video, bless it. Now I'm going to him like, what should I create? And so I don't know where this channel is going. I just hope that you know that I am here to give. I am here to help. I am here to inspire. I am here to teach you to love yourself. And I am here to show you who I am as I go on a for real journey of agape love. Thank you so much for your time. Love you, darlings. Bye-bye now.